We human beings can easily be deceived by a lot of noise. When people are saying, oh my God, we found this new thing, or a lot of people are flocking to a shop and another shop, say, is empty, then people generally flock towards that shop. So as human beings, we have to be very careful. Just because there's a lot of noise being made about something, it doesn't mean that that thing actually has substance. And this is true with chromosome 2. Now, chromosome 2 is seen amongst atheists and amongst Darwinists as some sort of underriding absolute proof of human chimpanzee history, something extraordinary, something amazing. Now, if you recall from the debate between myself and Aaron Ra, when the issue of chromosome 2 came up, I simply said, well, that's homology, and we already covered homology, and homology has been covered in other videos as well. So I hope you guys understand that enough. And he was like, no, this is different. Now, what I'm going to do in this video is show actually, no, it's not different. So chromosome 2 is just another example of homology. So it falls within the overall argument that I've been making that it's not absolute proof of anything. Plus, what I'm going to be doing is showing the difference between, again, the popular noise, the popular academic, the popular sort of understanding of the theory, and the academic understanding, which is obviously different. And the book I'm going to be using is the book by the evolutionary biologist Jonathan Marks, What It Means to Be 98% Chimpanzees. Got a nice cover, and it's by California University. Now, Jonathan Marks is an atheist, he is an academic, and he does believe human chimpanzee history is true. So he hits all the criteria for anybody who, any atheist or Darwinist who's going to claim, he's religious, so he's saying these things. Okay, so this is what it says on page 38, and this is about chromosome 2. Apparently, a fusion occurred in the human lineage, creating chromosome 2, and reducing the count from 24 pairs to 23 pairs. How do we know it wasn't a fission of chromosome 2 in the chimpanzee lineage? Because we find those two chromosomes in more distant relatives, in fact, as distant as the baboon. That tells us that the ancestral form of the chromosome was as 2 pairs, and the novelty was a fusion in the human line. Is that what makes us human? Yes and no. Yes, in a narrow diagnostic sense, given the chromosomes from a cell of any species, if you find chromosome 2 in it, it's from a human. No, in a functional sense, the fusion isn't what gives us language, or bipedalism, or a big brain, or art, or sugarless bubblegum. It's just one of those neutral changes, lacking outward expression and neither good nor bad. So let's dampen down the hype a little bit about this chromosome 2. It's simply a genetic similarity between human beings and chimpanzees. What does that mean? It simply means it falls within the overall argument of homology. Now, this is what it says on page 22, a bit of a lengthy quote. I'm going to break it up into two. And I hope you guys are going to understand the point that this is not some knockdown argument. We found this chromosome 2 because it falls within homology, and homology is fundamentally a philosophical discussion, not something which can be decisively proven by genetics in either way. Humans are marked by a large number of physical, ecological, mental, and social distinctions from other life. Not improvements, of course. We have no objective way to evaluate improvement in the natural world, but merely differences. Other primate species spend time on 2 legs, and other vertebrate species are bipedal. Birds and kangaroos come readily to mind, but not in the same manner as humans. Other species communicate, but not via the absurdly arbitrary and symbolic media we call language. Other species modify natural objects and use them to aid in feeding, as noted in Jane Goodall's classic observations of chimpanzees stripping twigs and using them to fish for termites. But none rely on their technology to survive as humans do. And in no other species does technology take an evolutionary trajectory of its own, a result of the social cycle of invention, adoption, spread, and modification. Other species appear to grieve, but none weep as humans do, and certainly not over imaginary events like those in Les Miserables or Love Story. What does genetics have to say about all this? Nothing. Sameness, otherness is a philosophical paradox that is resolved by argument, not by data. Genetic data tells us precisely what we knew, that humans are both very similar and different from the great apes. So this whole argument of chromosome 2, it falls within homology, and homology fundamentally is a philosophical discussion. End of. So somebody can go into more detail about homology in terms of chromosome 2, and somebody can go into more detail about any particular similarity in DNA structure. It makes no difference. It still falls within the argument of homology. Now the quote continues. But genetics is able to place a number on that similarity. It is not uncommon to encounter the statement that we are actually something like 99.44% genetically identical to chimpanzees. Actually, that number is a fabled degree of purity of ivory soap, but it serves the purpose. You can literally count the number of base differences among the same regions of the DNA in humans and chimpanzees and gorillas and add them up. Or you can do the same thing to the products of DNA protein structures. All such comparisons invariably yield the result that humans and chimpanzees and gorillas are extraordinarily similar. But that was known to Linnaeus without the aid of molecular genetics. So what's new? Just a number. So whether it comes down to this argument of we are 99% or 98% similar to chimpanzees, and this is supposed to be like some sort of amazing argument, well, all that's being done here is a misunderstanding of what that basically means, because we knew there were similarities between humans and chimpanzees before Darwin. Linnaeus existed some 100 or something years before, and he was a Christian, I believe, and he didn't, he put together the first sort of thing about how humans and chimpanzees are quite similar, and he put, he's like the father of classification, right, of putting similar things into these sort of groups. Now, what new thing has genetics brought to the table? What, this 98% figure, does this mean that we have something absolutely amazing? Well, Jonathan Marks is saying no, it's just a number that we have, and it doesn't add anything to the actual philosophical discussion. It's just simply another way of showing that there's similarity. So I hope in this video you have understood chromosome 2 is not some amazing discovery which makes us, gives us absolutely no wriggle room to say that human beings and chimpanzees are not related. It's just simply another genetic similarity. Therefore it falls into the discussion of homology, and homology fundamentally is a discussion which is philosophical, and in other videos I've covered the problem of homoplasy and the other wider problem that all the homology in the world means nothing unless you have a mechanism, and the mechanism itself has sub-assumptions. So I hope in this video, if you've not understood anything, you've at least understood one thing. A lot of noise, a lot of smoke doesn't mean there's actually fire. What you have to actually do is that you have to go to the academic works and actually have to look into those and see what it actually says about chromosome 2. Not go on famous popular videos which sometimes are shared on my Facebook where some guy's ranting off about chromosome 2 as if it's the best thing since sliced bread. No, take a chill pill, relax, look at what the academics are saying, and then note the difference between the academics and the public, and you will see there is actually a massive difference. For more videos on why Darwinian evolution is based on a probabilistic framework with multiple assumptions and there's disputes about its most fundamental ideas, make sure you subscribe to Darwinian Delusions.